The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. Who do you got winning the World Series?
Right now, I hate to say, probably, I'm going to go, actually, you know what? I'm going to go on the limb. I'm going to go crazy. Texas.
That's not a bad choice. Not a bad choice
Right
at all.
now, it's not. Right now, it's not.
If they can get a couple of starts out of Scherzer, you just never know. Yeah, it's that's a very good pick. We'll have to maybe put a couple of bucks down on that anyways. 14-20 week, Yankee week. That was a fan of the show, friend of the show, Jim, the fan of the Van Plotner, way back 2 months ago, where he predicted that the Texas Rangers would be winning the World Series. They're only 2 wins away from going to the World Series, a remarkable 7-game win streak. But that's from Jim from the fan of the Van. Make sure you check out his show, obviously. But anyways, 14:20 in the morning, brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and get yourself $20 off your first purchase. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all their great articles. And it's Tuesday, so Craft Brewed Sports is on there tonight. Make sure you tune into Craft Brewed Sports, one of my favorites, Tuesday night staple here at the Yankee Tavern North. And thank you very much for everybody who watches and listens and everything else from all of us here at 1420 World Headquarters. We appreciate all the support you guys give us throughout our 3+ years of doing this crazy little venture we got ourselves into. Anyways, like I mentioned before, the Texas Rangers find themselves only 2 games away from going to the World Series. A 7-game winning streak going on. It's remarkable considering where they came from the playoffs. It's a great little thing. Every once in a while, you get some faith in humanity, and it gets restored in you a little bit. And it's just somehow, some way, the message that we're sending out on a daily basis finally getting across. Maybe, just maybe, the masses starting to listen to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast, whether it be 1420 in the morning or what Dave and I do. But I think it's finally happening. And just maybe, somebody in the Texas Rangers organization has been listening to the 1420 podcast, because the Texas Rangers have been going about things the way we've been preaching it for quite some time here from 1420 World Headquarters, is that every once in a while, you got to ditch the nerds and ditch the analytics and go with your gut. And Bruce Bochy, who's been around for a long time, and he probably only came out of retirement to coach these Texas, or manage these Texas Rangers. Don't call them a coach when they're managers. To manage these Texas Rangers, basically saying, okay, I will come back, but we're going to do things my way. We're going to do things that we're successful. We'll use analytics to a certain point, but we're going to use the gut feeling. And for 2 straight nights in the ALCS, he went with his gut and he stuck with his starting pitcher. On Sunday night, he stuck with Jordan Montgomery. He was in trouble in the fifth, I think it was, got out of a bases loaded jam, and he was done. And then last night with Nathan Eovaldi in the 5th or the 6th, it doesn't much matter what inning was. The same thing in Eovaldi with all his Tommy Johns. He was in a big heap of trouble, bases loaded, nobody out, but he got out of it pretty much unscathed. And now the Texas Rangers have themselves a 2-0 lead against the defending World Series champion Houston Astros, something that I didn't think would happen. It's crazy to think that the Astros are down 2-0 and at home, how bad they've been all season long at home. Kind of it adds insult to injury a little bit, I guess, how you can go from having a World Series contending team year in, year out, but not have a 500 record at home is truly remarkable. But let's get back to the Texas Rangers and how they've done it and how they've listened to the 1420 podcast, whoever it is down there, saying, you know what, just go with your gut, figure it out, and quit putting baseballs and quit putting more people in situations where you're going to set them up to fail. You get one guy going, you get one guy rolling, and it can work, and it's worked so far. Is there a little bit of luck involved? 100%, but that's what baseball is. But I've always said that because of baseball is such a mathematical thing, and the way that batting averages work, you're going to have a lot more guys fail than succeed when they come to the plate. Same thing goes with pitching. But the thing is, with hitting, it's tough. And especially when it comes to playoff baseball, when you're hitting 200 or 250, that's pretty much the norm. So there's a good chance you're going to be out a lot of the times you come to the plate. 8 out of 10 times, you're not going to get a hit in playoff baseball. And Bruce Bochy knows that. And he went with his studs. He went with his aces. And he went with guys that are give him a chance to win. Now they got Max Scherzer going to the hill in game 3, just like I said in the opening there with Jim, the fan man in the van that you get a couple good starts out of Scherzer. You never know. And Jim's little the prognosticator of Long Island, the soothsayer of the South. He's got it all figured out. Old Jim does, that the Texas Rangers have a chance to win themselves or get themselves to a World Series for the first time in a long time. And you like the way that this works, and you like the way that you get some pitchers who get some confidence behind them and know that their team's behind them from the manager out and from management out, and we're going to stick with a guy that gives us a chance to win. And when a guy goes to the hill and goes, okay, they're behind me, I'm going to go and do my job, and I don't got to worry about anything else. I can just go and do my job and be that guy and give myself go to tomorrow, right? I can be that guy who gets our team to tomorrow. I can be that guy who can be eventually might be part of forever and have a start and have a chance to be something. You think back to that World Series where Blake Snell got pulled with a no-hitter going, and then he didn't get a chance to be part of forever. But Bruce Bochy, he's been there before, 10, 12, and 14 with the San Francisco Giants. He won the 3 World Series, and now he's put the Texas Rangers in a position to win themselves a World Series. And I think it's great, the confidence that he instills in his pitchers, the confidence that he instills in his team to go with the guys that got you there. And I think it's a great thing. It doesn't show much confidence in his bullpen, obviously, but that's one thing you worry about later. But it's saving bullpen arms for later in the game just in case. So now they have a 2-0 lead in a series with Max Scherzer, who's been known to go long. So might give some guys, there's a couple days rest in between, so it might give his guys a little more rest of bullpen and give his guys a little more confidence, a little rah shish boom bob behind him, a little swagger in their step. And it's a remarkable thing that somebody went against the grain, that went against the analytics and said, no, this is how we're going to do things. I'm going to go with my gut. And something tells me that even Derek Sanderson Jeter, yes, that Derek Jeter, he talked about how great it must be to play for a manager to have that confidence. So maybe Jeter, he's been listening to the 1420 podcast as well, because we preach about this all the time, that you get some confidence behind you, guy. You get a team that's behind you, and you get a bunch of guys that want to play for each other, and that equals success. And Jeter brought that up last night with Nathan Eovaldi and all his Tommy Johns while he's sitting there on the panel post game. And Jeter's been great. Like I was kind of against Jeter going on television, just what kind of one of those things. But he's been great in the post games and the pre games, everything else on Fox. He's been really good. And yes, I'm a Jeter hugger, obviously, but he's been really, really good on television as an analyst. And he kind of swarms out the BS that old A-Rod still wants to spew. But back to the ALCS, it's been fantastic watching the guy and seeing that the gut worked, and that once in a while, guys who watch baseball forever, guys who are part of baseball forever, because that's what Bochy is, and that's what Robbie Thompson is with the Philadelphia Phillies, who are just on a roll as well. And they're going to slug their way to a World Series. They were unbelievable last night. 2 pitches in, they're up 2-0, and before you knew it, and Bryce Harper gave himself a birthday present, his 31st birthday, as we talked about yesterday at 14:20 in the morning, that Bryce Harper gave himself a pretty good birthday gift by hitting that home run, and Schwarber basically first pitch home run, I think it was too. And the way that team is slugging the baseball, they're going to be tough to beat. I still think it's going to be them and the Rangers now. So the Rangers, obviously, big prognosticator Brent, when they're up 2-0, pretty easy to say, but like Jim said, the Rangers are there. But I said that the Phillies are going to be tough to beat, and that crowd behind them is something else, and they have a lot going on. The only thing that I don't like is the way that they still have the eternal nozzle Craig Kimbrell and his man bun and his arm wagging and sagging and whatever he's doing out there. It works for him. Why it works, I don't know. Why that became a thing, I have no idea. But that's got to stop, and I hope we don't got to watch him a whole bunch more. There might be only six more or 7 more Phillies games this year, the way they're rolling anyway. So maybe 7 more appearances from Kimbrell. Don't got to worry about him until next spring training. But it's remarkable, the playoffs. Like I said, they haven't been great so far. You would like to see the Astros win 1, maybe 2. Going on the road, they're better on the road. You might see them slug their way into a game or 2, but Scherzer's going to be tough to beat. Down 2-0 isn't a death wish. Down 3-0 isn't a death wish. If you watched Jeter last night when he's sitting there talking, and it was in between Ortiz, and Jeter was basically talking through Ortiz over to A-Rod, talking when you're down 2-0, it's not a death wish. Down 3-0 isn't a death wish, because they lost one in 2004 ALCS, obviously, and Poppy with kind of a smart ass remark saying, "Oh, I didn't know that," and he was obviously part of that Boston team. So it was guys like like that, old rivals, guys on the field who seem to respect each other. Watching those three guys talk, it's been pretty good. Even though A-Rod's still got to open up his mouth, it's been fun to watch. There's another story that should have got a lot more press than it did, and it didn't get as much as I think it should have. I put it on the Morning Buzz yesterday or last night, so if you got it this morning, make sure you subscribe to the Morning Buzz at our website, the1420sportsbar.com. And I put an article up there yesterday that I found. And I heard about this, I think on Sunday or Saturday, I can't remember. But Alyssa Nakken, San Francisco Giants bench coach, she was offered the very first time she got to interview thought to be the very first female to interview for a Major League Baseball managerial position. I think the interview happened yesterday or today or tomorrow. It doesn't much matter if it's even happened, but it's kind of one of those things. It's been a long time coming for a female person, a female person to get interviewed in a predominantly male sport, obviously. But it's time that it's changed a little bit, and we get some outside ears thinking and some outside voices thinking, not the same old recycle guys. Yes, the old recycle guys are having some success, but having some different ideas and different thoughts. It's very progressive thinking, I think, by the San Francisco Giants. Will she get the job? I don't know. Are they interviewing her for publicity? I highly doubt it, because they get enough publicity as it is. But I think it's a very good move by the Giants. Even if she doesn't get the job, there'll be some thinking of what can happen when you get somebody else, some different thought process, not the same old recycled nerdology and nerdalytics and old man analytics. It might be a good thing for the Giants to look into. You just wonder if it's going to be this year. I just hope she gets an opportunity for all the right reasons, whether it be with the Giants or within the Giants organization as a minor league manager or whatever it might be. But if she gets a job with the San Francisco Giants as the manager, I think it would be a good thing for baseball. It's very progressive, something I would never have thought would have happened 10 years ago, let alone 20 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a splendid idea. There was a couple of guys, of course, they had to post their thoughts on Twitter. And Aubrey Huff, perennial nozzle Aubrey Huff. You remember some of the stupid shit he said? Oh, it took me till 9:46 a.m. on this 14:20 in the morning to swear. But anyways, Aubrey Huff posted basically saying that a woman can't be a manager of a Major League Baseball team because they don't use a logical thinking, and they only think they think with emotion. And baseball's got a game of feel. And then he quickly deleted that. There was a post that posted. People replied to that. He got the clicks he wanted as I'm talking about him here. But it's just funny that you think that way, that automatically goes to that. And Aubrey Huff's been known to say a lot of derogatory terms to different groups and people and genders on Twitter. And he usually cowards out, and he takes off Twitter. Here's an idea, Aubrey, just get off Twitter altogether, because nobody wants to hear what you have to say, because you're an idiot. You're an absolute idiot. And thinking outside the box is why we have any technology or anything that we have today. We can't sit in the Stone Ages, I guess, and just hope that things get better, because they don't. And a change for the San Francisco Giants, who are a fairly successul franchise. You don't know getting around that, but it's just progressive thinking outside the box that might get them towards another world championship. And there was another guy who posted on Twitter that it would be a smart move to hire this Alyssa Nakken, because he said he used to live by himself and eat ice cream and frozen pizza till 3 a.m. and everything else, and was out of shape. And now, since a woman moved into his house, he's eaten better, he's lost weight. Now he's got coasters on his dining room table and everything else. So she cleaned up his house, and he said that if she was in charge, all the San Francisco Giants would probably start hitting 350, and their pitchers would have below 2 ERAs. So there's different ways of thinking. It's funny that women do, when they do come into your life, how they can change a man's life, especially at a young age when baseball players are. Some different thinking and different ways of doing things can alter things. I always laugh when, no matter how much money a man or a woman makes, whether it's disparity or not, a woman will always have a coat for their toaster, and a man just barely has any furniture in their house. It's just funny how it all turns out. But good luck to Alyssa Nakken and all her future endeavors, and hopefully she gets that job with the Giants, and hopefully this opens up the door for women everywhere to enter the world of professional sports a lot more. Baseball and softball aren't a lot different. So the women play softball. Why more women aren't playing baseball? They are playing a lot more now than they were 10 years ago. But it's one of those things that we need to get more women involved in some outside thinking, no matter where it comes from. We let the nerds in. Hey, we let the nerds in, so why not get women involved in the higher levels as well? I think it's a great move for baseball. It's a great move for the San Francisco Giants in general. Anyways, there's my little rant for the day. How about a little word from our friends at SeatGeek?
The foul baller. If there's a ball that's gone foul, he's gone to get it. Under his watchful gaze, all bevs, binoculars, and ballpark brats are safe. He's the only thing that stands between his section and certain destruction. That's why he only trusts SeatGeek with his tickets. The ticketing app trusted by fans. SeatGeek, so fans can fan.
Anyways, thank you once again to SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app for sponsoring the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. We couldn't be here without you. Anyways, thank you very much for listening to the show, by the way. As always, we appreciate everybody who tunes in on YouTube and listens on the podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you are listening to the podcast, keep listening to the podcast. It's very important. It's very important. It all kind of goes together. But anyways, let's do some on this days and birthdays and get you guys out of here. Happy 53rd birthday to South African golfer Ernie Els, born on this day in 1970 in Johannesburg, South Africa. Els won the British Open Championship twice in his career, 2002 and 2012, and the U.S. Open twice as well in 1994 and 97. The former world number one has 75 career victories as a professional, 19 on the PGA Tour and 28 on the European Tour, which is good for 7th all-time. The Big Easy, as he was called, was entered into the World Cup Hall of Fame in 2011 and was a two-time runner-up at the Masters, once in 2000, the other in 2004, losing to Vijay Singh and Phil Mickelson in those years. Happy birthday to South African-born golfer, the Big Easy, Ernie Els, born on this day in 1970. And on this day in 1991, Pittsburgh Penguins D-man Paul Coffey set the all-time NHL career point record for defensemen of 1,053, 309 goals, 744 assists total. Coffey had 2 assists in the Penguins' 8-5 win over the New York Islanders at the Igloo, also known as the Pittsburgh Civic Center. Coffey's career began at Edmonton in the 1980-81 season as a 19-year-old on those great Oilers teams of the 80s, where he won 2 Norris trophies and 3 Stanley Cups before moving on to Pittsburgh, where he would win 1 more Stanley Cup. He finished his Hall of Fame career in 2001 with 1,531 points. That's 396 goals, 1,135 assists, good for 14th overall time and in points, and only second to Ray Bourque for defensemen, who sits at 1,579 all time. Paul Coffey, one of the best skaters and one of the best players to ever play the game. He played on a lot of teams. You wonder why he moved on from squad to squad. But on this day in 1991, Paul Coffey set the NHL record for most points by a D-man that was eventually taken over, like I said, by Ray Bourque. Check out the 1420sportsbar.com for some great articles. I put a good one up there yesterday that I wrote about the, I think it was great, about fighting and how it's kind of gone. I kind of missed it and everything else about the game of hockey. You know, the game, like the movie Slapshot and on it went. So make sure you check out the 1420sportsbar.com and sign up for the morning buzz as well to get some great articles to your fingertips every morning before you even get out of bed. They'll be right in your email. You can scroll while you're laying in bed or taking a crap, whatever it's going to be. Anyways, that's today's 1420 in the morning. Thank you very much for listening. And remember, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have a good day, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 beer with sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.